I'm British and a lord.
Hey guys, what's popping off? What's going down? What's up? It's Wessin The World. I'm Wes, and I'm currently in your world. Welcome, guys. I hope you're staying blessed. This is Connor, you can see, just in the top left. Say hi, Connor. Hey. So just Connor staying with me for a few days. That's to leave his house for a few days. So I've had to take him in, and more than happy to, though. I love this dude. He's my best friend. And I was just watching this video today. Not too sure who it was by now. Who is it now? What's his name? Oh, so his name is Nathaniel Drew. You may have seen his. I did a 30-day meditation challenge, and this is what happened. He does a lot of these videos, and it's really, really good. He just did a video about people that feel behind in life. And I was talking to my friend Selena yesterday, who's wonderful, incredibly beautiful human being in terms of like how she comes across, and she's just so respectful and just so nice. But she had trouble getting into a meditative state without the meditation classes that I was teaching at the workplace that I used to work. So I thought that I'd maybe make a video that just goes through just the start of my meditation journey. Why did I get into it? What did I think I would get out of it? And what did I eventually find in it? And I thought I'd make a video that was just, because if you watch my videos, you get this sort of idea that like maybe sort of very opinionated. I want you to think the way that I think, and it's not that at all. At all. I may come across like this is a silly way to think, because these are the silly realizations that I had when I was thinking about these things, when I was thinking about the hierarchy, when I was thinking about, where I should be in life. And I also watched a very interesting video as well, which I'll post a link for at the end of the video as well. So both links will be at the end. Nathaniel Drew's, and also as well the Sukunda. I forgot his name, but I'll post it at the end. But it's basically just a video of him explaining, in these times with the COVID-19, it's easy to fall into old mental patterns. And this is a typical mental pattern, which is idealism, which is you have an ideal about how your life was going to be at this point. You get to that point and you realize that you're unhappy that your life isn't at that point yet. People do work all over the place. So people get very et up inside. They get very defeated when they realize that the ideal that they had for their life is not culminated or manifested in a way that they wanted it to. And this is perfectly fine, because in Nathaniel Drew's video, he came to the realization that he was speaking to someone 10 years older than him, and he still has the same fears of falling behind. He has the same anxieties around not meeting the deadlines or not meeting the expectations of himself. And that's absolutely fine, because that's a universal feeling that everyone feels, and it's liberating to know that other people feel it as well. What weighs you down is thinking that your pain is individual to you. And you can see a lot of this when this is why people compare their struggle, compare their suffering, because the ego wants them to think that everything that's happening to them is only happening to them. It's a very, very heavy burden to carry. When you realize that other people carry it as well, it does lighten the load. It doesn't liberate you completely, but it does lighten the load. But what I wanted to do with this video is, from what Nathaniel's been speaking about there, for people feeling behind in life, This is exactly the reason why I moved into meditation. This was exactly the reason why I made these steps towards peace of mind. Because what I realised is that whether you've got a Ferrari or you've got a big house or you've got a small house or you lived in a foreign country for a few years and then you move back, and no matter what your life is, no matter what you gauge success on, ultimately it's you that decides what success is. Ultimately it's your own ego that decides what success is. So if we can bypass this judgmental quarter of the brain, which we can do, because you're not the voice inside your head telling you you're garbage. You're the voice that's answering that with actions to achieve things in life, to prove that voice wrong. But at the end of it, really, what will you be proving wrong? At the end of it, who wins? Yeah, you may have proven your ego wrong, but then by the time you get to that point, your ego's got a whole host of new criticisms to feed back to you. And this is why people reach for those ideals. They punch for that victory, and when they get the gold, they realize that it's just gold, like made into the shape of a trophy, to be given to you to thank your ego for bringing you this far. And that to me doesn't seem like success. It may do to you, and obviously that's no judgment to what you think success is. You may have a different idea, but for me, success is just reaching a point where you feel like, I am here. I deserve to be here. And that's what self-love is. That's the access. That's the ability to access this thought that, oh, maybe a lot of people are worse off than me. Maybe people are better off than me. Or maybe I'm in the perfect position. Maybe. But all these are maybes. We want to remove the maybe and take back the decision to decide what success is. For me, I've got a lot of friends, and I've got a lot of people that genuinely love me, a lot of people that genuinely detest at my presence, and that's absolutely fine. Because as long as it's 50 on either side, that's balance, and that's Taoism, so I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Because if you get people that love you too much, your ego feeds into it, and then you become your ego. And then you become inaccessible. You become inaccessible to new energy because you have asserted yourself as this, who I am, and no one could tell me nothing. I go back to Kanye in 04, like, you can't tell me nothing. And that's what you'll be built up into. But then obviously your ideal of what you think you are gets smashed when you realize that someone's smarter than you, when you realize that the ego can't compete, and you've trained it to compete with everything outside. But the only real competition is that which is inside. You're only competing with yourself. Can you be better than you were yesterday? Can you help more people than you did yesterday? Not even through conscious helping. Just like people like, my friend Selena giving me a call and asking me, she's having real problems with the meditation. Can I talk her through some of the little things? That for me is easy. That's like breathing to me. I've been meditating for like 3 years now. Like, I love this. I love the opportunity to talk about this. And yeah, and this is why I made this channel. And the whole reason why I got into meditation was because I realized that even if I do achieve what I want to achieve, and Lacan said this as well, the philosopher Lacan, he did say, don't be scared of, what was the saying now? Be careful what you wish for. And he said in, I don't know which book it is, but he said that be careful what you wish for. Not because you won't like it once you get it, but because you're doomed to not want it once you do get it. So you got the Ferrari. You've always dreamed of having the Ferrari. It's nowhere near as good as what you imagined it to be, because your imagination is more powerful than anything on this planet. Even owning a Ferrari, it's not as good as. So when you do get that car, you can't want it anymore. Now, I'm not saying obviously we should go through life just wanting things and not getting things, because obviously that sets up a whole other thing of disappointment with our life, regret with our life, all that sort of stuff. What I'm saying is, what I wanted to do was to bypass the whole damn game. What I wanted to do was to bypass the whole 300 and 250 million year old evolutionary trait in a human being to be better than the next monkey at doing something that he loves doing. Why would I want to be better than him at being him when you're too busy being you and being better at that? Because he could never be a better you than you, because you're you. You could never be a better him than him, because he's him. So it has no real fundamental logical basis why we should be in competition with each other, and it makes all the sense why we should all be working on ourselves, competing with ourselves, and helping others with that energy. So I wanted to get to that point. So I started listening to mantras, having no idea what I'm listening to. So looking at Russell Brand, because I was a really big fan of Russell Brand, and he had a major transformation somewhere in 2000, somewhere between 2014 and 2017. Major transformation. Started with obviously stopping his drug use, which was getting in the way of a lot of his relationships with his family and a lot of relationships with his friends. He was even friends with obviously Amy Winehouse, and then she passed away, so that was a big wake-up call for him. But this was all. I was following his journey because no one's had a crazier journey than Russell Brand. The guy, I've seen that guy smoking crack, like holding the tin foil, he's lighting the heroin and then smoking the smoke of the heroin through a crack joint. That's pretty crazy. I don't think many of us have reached that point. So obviously he was trying to reach an ideal of how to feel. He was trying to reach this absolute sensation of perfection. But we only experience these in times when we deserve it in life. Do you notice that? When you've done something and you get that rush and you're like, yes, I've done something, that's the reward mechanic. That if you don't get enough of those rewards, obviously, yeah, you will turn to things like drugs, and you will turn to things that make you feel something that you don't feel on a daily basis. Even just touching the kettle, some people, if their life becomes too mundane, they'll do things, they'll act out, they'll touch a kettle just to see if it still burns, just to feel that sensation, that rush. Now, that's because we've set up this idea of false ideals, and we want to reach these ideals at any cost. But when you reach these things and when you do achieve these things, you have to pay with the cost that you paid to get it. If you've done it honestly, brilliant. But if you get to the end of it and you realise that you're not that same person anymore, it could be a very unhappy realisation. And this isn't a video for you to forget your ideals. Have your ideals. Make sure that you vision in your mind, imagine them perfect. Because that's your guiding light. That's your North Star. That's the sun to a sun. That's the sun to a sunflower. The sunflower reaches towards the sun. Do you not think that it knows it's not going to reach the sun, and neither would it like to, but it still tries, because it's more about the journey than it is about the destination. With flowers, with nature, with all these things, it's all about the journey, because nature doesn't know how long this thing's going to last. Because it believes that it will live on in other forms. Humans, on the other hand, we think that obviously once it's death, it's over. So we feel like we've got a time limit to get to what we need to do in order to get the fullest and richest experience of being alive. And what you end up doing is working in an office for a very long time, earning the amount of money, working your way up this hierarchy, believing in the hierarchy, becoming the boss, having that responsibility take all your time away. Some people are built for it, and some people master it, and some people are perfect at it. But I really don't think that that's going to be a good enough antidote to the poison that exists in every human person. You can't tell every human person that if you just work hard and try hard, you're going to get that big house and that beautiful wife and that beautiful husband, and that it's going to save you from all of your insecurities. It's not going to. We have to get our minds in order, to get our bodies in order, to get our lives in order. Lives in that order. And this is again, this is how I came to meditation. I started to realize, is there not a way that I can get this peace of mind without having? It was me trying to take the easy route, basically. How can I get peace of mind without having to achieve the things that I think peace of mind brings? And for me, I started to look into Eastern philosophy because of Russell Brand, because of people like David Lynch, because of the Transcendental Meditation Foundation. Transcendental Meditation Foundation? I think that's what it's called, actually. So listening to all these people that are saying, look, do this thing, and it'll help you be able to deconstruct who you think you are, and it'll help you remove things from yourself that aren't necessary and they're holding you back. And all of this seemed to be answered by meditation, by just repeating 3 words in silent darkness, or just repeating 2 words in my mind, which seems completely redundant. It seems completely a waste of time when you first do it. And that's the trick. That's the test, as it were. The test is, are you so deeply ingrained inside your mind that you're going to let your mind tell you what will give you peace of mind? Your mind doesn't know what will give you peace of mind, because it's not the peace of mind that you're trying, it's not the mind you're trying to satisfy. The mind can be satisfied with just, a night out drinking, getting drunk and having a great time and climbing the status hierarchy with friends. That's what satisfies the mind, the ego. Or what satisfies the awareness, adventure, growth, expansion, manifesting things inside the mind and then constructing those things out in the world, being a 100% creator, like I'm doing right now, creating this video. Hopefully it gets received by the right kind of people that need this message, and then they find Nathaniel Drew's video, and it doesn't necessarily change the way that you think. It just explains the world to you the way the world should have been explained to you when you were younger. And this is why, obviously, I came to meditation. Obviously, I came to it as an idea of the shortcut for how I was going to get to this peace of mind state without having to worry about any of the other stuff. But what I realized is that once I get this meditative state in place, and I'm just doing it every day, and I'm doing my yoga every day, getting my body in order, all the insecurities disappear, all the inferiority complex, all of the feeling like I don't deserve to be in a room with these people, that kind of stuff, like these people have achieved, watching people succeed, and it hurts me. I don't want to feel like that. I want to be able to succeed with everyone. Everyone wants to be able to succeed with everyone. We just need to not have these ideals about what life should be. And we could set up the ideal as a North Star and head towards it, but we have to know that we can't reach that. And we have to know that what will happen instead of that is something far, far greater than what we could ever imagine. Because my imagination of what I would be if I was like, rich and powerful, I don't think that I would be much happier. I think I would be much more sad than the life that I'm living now, with all the variables of life and coronavirus coming in and making everyone sort of forcing everyone into their homes and having a psychological renaissance, and then there's a organic, ecological renaissance happening outside, and none of these factors could have been catered for. None of these variables could have been factored in to your ideal about what life should and would have been if the conditions were correct. But the conditions will never be correct, because the conditions aren't working for you, they're working for everyone. And if the world works out the way you want it to, then where do I go? That's the Sadhguru. Check out Sadhguru. I'll leave one of the videos at the end of this video. Thank you. I just wanted to make a video about how I got into meditation, and I wanted to just let you know, obviously, my realizations about ideals in this one video, just on the basis of a question from Selena. How did you get into meditation, Wes? Which was the question. And how I got into meditation was I just took an invested interest in it. I started to see it as, wow, this might actually be something. This might actually be the 3,000, 4,000 eons old technique or cheat code to hack the brain and to bypass the hierarchical structure and to bypass all the pain of feeling falling behind. And it does do that. And then your brain can get back to what it usually does, which is just be a calculator to assess threat levels. That's all it is, guys. We started using it to imagine all sorts of fictional evils that are in front of us. But really all it is a calculator, and it cannot calculate the variables of life because it's just not that powerful. It's very powerful. Very, very powerful. It could affect your behavior. It could affect your movement. Doubt is the most powerful force in the universe. Doubt could have stopped Hitler. Well, obviously we should have stopped Hitler, but we should. Doubt could have stopped Martin Luther King. Better example, but doubt could have stopped Martin Luther King, and that would have stopped an entire equal rights movement. It would have stopped a massive amount of change that we needed in social living standards. And that was just because Martin Luther King was at that time in that place, pastor, speaking truth, and everyone needed to hear truth at that time. So he's just one of many millions that could have been in that position that had to rise to the challenge. Now I call to you, are you willing to rise to the challenge and sit on your own without phone, put your phone on silent, and then set a timer for 10 minutes and then just sit with yourself? You don't necessarily have to meditate. Just start to notice, start to become mindful of the things around you. And when you feel comfortable enough, just repeat 2 words. Now these 2 words are usually given to you by your transcendental meditation teacher, but what I've found is a good introduction is to just make up 2 words. Om and So. Or ping pong, or sing song, or roo ring, or any 2 words to entertain your monkey mind. Everyone's got a monkey mind, I'm not being racist. But everyone's got to entertain your monkey mind. Give it something to do so that it can cycle through these things. And then eventually your mind stops giving you those thoughts. And you don't have to do anything. Your mind naturally dives. Your consciousness naturally dives deep inside yourself. And what it's looking for when it goes inside yourself, it's trying to find your true nature. And this can be proven scientifically. When you go into that state, you start to release beta and gamma waves from your brain. Actual waves start to emit from your brain due to this change in brain behavior. That's wild. So just repeating 2 words, it's just a technique. Sit with yourself and put on some mantras if you want, some music, just to get you into that meditative mindset. Just don't come to it raw, because you don't want to give your ego any excuse to get out the door. Sorry, this has been a long video, but this has just been my explanation as to why and how I got into meditation. I started taking an invested interest in it. Started realizing that this was the way I was going to be able to bypass this doubt so that I can achieve what I want, so that I can achieve what I dream. But I'm under no illusion that my dream won't come true. But something close will, and an adventure will be had if you let it. if you let life operate through you and you don't let your conscious mind jump in and start trying to calculate the variables, because it cannot do that. There's an element of letting go which gets difficult as your mind gets more erratic, I know, but it must be a journey taken if you are to experience any ounce of what really being alive is. To be able to look out and to not have a judgment about what is out there, but to just be able to enjoy the sight of the shapes and the colours, and to be able to enjoy the life that's going on. What? Jesus! Shut up! Stop doing work, dude! People are in their house. I know. Sort of bypassing my own message by not appreciating the beautiful workmanship that's happening next door to a fence when I'm trying to record. I'm not really mad. But yeah, that's the reason why I go into meditation. As a ways to relieve myself from that fear of not being enough, to release me from that fear of falling behind, to release me from that fear of not achieving these ideals of human life. We can only try. We can't achieve. And if we do achieve, we achieve by accident. And even that's beautiful, because that's part of the journey. What kind of journey is it without surprises? And what kind of journey is it without pain? And what kind of journey is it without struggle? But what kind of journey is it where you can't sit back and just observe the struggle, observe the pain, observe the surprise, observe the shock, and just appreciate the whole journey as a whole? What kind of journey is that? So yeah, thank you very much for joining me. I've been Wes. This has been Wessin The World. I've been Wes and I've been in your world. Don't stress. Stay blessed. You never know what's next. It's exciting. When you have the correct flavor, I guess.